Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm very excited to have you all here. We've got a few people joining us. And I believe that we should be live into the Facebook community. If I can get a heads up, that would be amazing if we are still live in there. I believe so. I believe we're still live. So that's really good. We've had a few tech issues this afternoon, and I have been stressing big time. So I'm glad that we are all here together now. So we were going to go live into Facebook, LinkedIn, into a few different platforms, but the software didn't align. And so we have had to rejig. But anyway, we're here now. So welcome. Thank you for all showing up live on our Zoom and over on Facebook. We're not over on LinkedIn, unfortunately, but we will reach out to you guys and send you guys the replay. So would really love to know where you're tuning in from and why you've come tonight. What is it about the masterclass and in particular imposter syndrome that has you curious about what I'm going to present? And if you are watching the replay, do hashtag replay in the comments because I'd love to know who's coming in live and and who's on the replay. And of course, if you know anybody that will benefit from our masterclass tonight, let me know. Tag them in the comments on Facebook, which is really, really exciting. And so we want to get it out to a global nursing audience. And I do know that Belinda, I believe you're a nurse. Is that correct? Patricia, are you a nurse? Hi, Joy. Yes, we're coming in from Nigeria. Last time we were in, we had nurses from Kenya, which is really exciting because Victoria, amazing, because I want to get out to as many people as we are, because as you know, in nursing, these situations and these masterclasses that I'm presenting, like the last one was on burnout, and this one is on imposter syndrome. It's just not to Australia. Sheila is from the Philippines, so she is an RN in the Philippines and also one of my amazing VAs. So it's just not Australian nurses that experience the thing and, imposter syndrome or burnout or, we all have the same experiences, but on a different level and in a different scale. And Patricia, South Africa. Oh, I love that, Patricia. Yes, would really love. I'm going to pick your entrepreneurship, and you're right. I'm just gonna. I forgot to click record, so I'm just going to press it quickly. We are recording now. I did this last time on the last masterclass, and I had to redo it the next day, but. Yeah, you're right. Where else would imposter syndrome show up more than entrepreneurship? Okay. And when we're stepping out and gaining more experience. And I found that's where I found it came out more for me. So it's really exciting. And what I do present tonight, because there's going to be mums watching this, there's going to be just women. Last masterclass, we had plenty of men on who are suffering burnout in the nursing industry. So it's not just relevant to female nurses. What I will be presenting is relevant to nurses in general, plus the general public. Okay, so it's not just nurses that suffer from imposter syndrome. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, so we should see that. Can anybody, what have I done? Okay. All right. Can anybody tell me if you can see the screens there? I'll just done something. Okay, so I'll just stop again. So as you can see, I am a nurse first, and technology is really challenging me. So let's try again. There we go. That's what I want. All right. So those of you that are on live, can you just share and let me know whether or not you can see that slide? Imposter syndrome. Thanks, Belinda. And we should be able to, yeah. Awesome. So our masterclass tonight is nurses. Well, anybody, you belong here, and how to overcome imposter syndrome. So what are we going to cover? Okay, you're going to see that a lot of the stuff that we covered tonight actually interlinks with other areas of our life and other traits that we may have. So we've done that. So we're going to explore 4 hidden behaviors of imposter syndrome and how to shift them. So removing anxiety. And I did say before your shift, because I know that there are a lot of people of us out there that have one point or another experienced that point when we're sitting in the car before our shift and not really wondering whether we want to go in. How to release the fear of failure in the workplace and in your life. Dissolving the fear of being exposed as a fraud, and breaking free from procrastination in nursing. And for those of you that stay until the end, I'm going to be giving away a very exciting gift worth $297. And like I said, if you're on social media, tag a friend and see if they is something that they would benefit. So why does it matter, and who am I? So those of you that I am meeting on the Zoom and on live for the very first time, my name is Kylie. I am branded, and I love to call myself as the Real and Raw Nurse Mentor. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this area, because this was me all through my life and all through my nursing career. About 4 years ago, my life was turned upside down. I suffered 2 workplace injuries. I did have an earlier one back in 2012, but the ones that impacted my life were 2 workplace injuries during COVID, failed stage 12 burnout, failed spinal syndrome, and chronic pain as a result, and saw the end of my nursing career as we knew it. So I, all the way through childhood, I failed high school. I didn't go to grade 12, failed grade 11. I was always told that I was not good enough. I was not smart enough. I was dumb and stupid. I was the odd kid out. Came from lower socioeconomic housing. My dad raised us. My mum was non-existent and nowhere, and so I was raised by a man in the 80s when it was very much a mothers stayed home and looked after the kids. So I got married young. I had my first daughter at 21. I was, got married young. And the only reason why I applied for university was I was 28 years old. I had 3 children under the age of 10 with my son. So he is 20 now, but he was born and he spent like the first 5 years of his life screaming 24/7. Okay. And, you can imagine what that does as a mum. And, I'm not sleeping. My husband was working very 12-hour days, 7 days a week. So, even back then, I was the sole caregiver. I am very fortunate that I was able to spend all that time raising our children. I didn't have to work. I was very present there, but there was something missing in my life. And anyway, so I'm sitting there one day, 28 years old, thinking, what the hell do I do next? And an ad came up for a nursing degree at university, at QUT. It was a new intake, Caboolture University, which is our local one, was opening up. And, it was close. And I thought, no, surely I couldn't. And I thought, oh, maybe, what if I just apply and just to see if I was smart enough to get in? I didn't have a plan beyond that because my thoughts were that I wasn't smart enough and, that I wouldn't be going. So I'll just apply and just see what happens. Well, I got in. I didn't know how to write an assignment. I had, 3 children, 2 with on the spectrum, and 1 with learning difficulties. And and I just thought, oh, okay, well, what do I do now? I got in. Do I go? And I was very fortunate that I had I have a very supportive husband. And he's like, well, okay, well, I don't know how we're going to do this, but let's go. Let's do it. And I was just very shocked. But all the way through my nursing career, and even though I couldn't do all of these things when I was younger, it was just slowly proving to me that I am actually smart enough and I can do these things. So I went to university, but those things, those feelings of you're not smart enough, you're dumb and you're stupid, or you don't have the skills, they don't go away, because it's the itty bitty shitty committee, or the negative Nancy's in our brain that has been cemented throughout our life that will overcome. And so one of the things, I thought at the time and all through motherhood was I wanted to show my children, like my son, he didn't learn to read and write till he was 8 or 9 year old. And so he struggled. But I wanted to prove to them that no matter what your limitations are, and no matter what you face in adversity, that if you apply yourself and you keep trying, that anything is possible. And I'm living proof now. Like, all my children are very, I've got a daughter that's a manager for Hungry Jack's. My son Jack, he's in his second year of university. His second year of an apprenticeship. None of them went to university. And last year he brought home just over $100,000 at the $100,000 at the age of 20, and he's got his own business. And he has done that all on himself. And this is from a kid that couldn't read and write till he was 8 or 9 years old. And so he passed high school with support from us, but anything beyond that is he's had to do that. So imposter syndrome won't go away, and we have to acknowledge it, we have to heal from it, and we have to embrace it in our life. And what really matters is how you manage your feelings and how you respond to a situation. And in everyday life, in particular nursing, okay, you will face someone that's going to tell you, that's always smarter than you, someone who's going to challenge you, someone who will think that you don't know anything and they are better than you, and someone who is so jealous or have their own limiting beliefs and their own traumas that they haven't healed from, that they're going to project it onto you to make you look inferior. And as we know, nursing can have and does have, depending on where you work, one of the most toxic cultures around. And it is up to us, to encourage and to heal from our own limiting beliefs and the way that we respond to others. So let's get into it. So imposter syndrome. Okay. Well, what is it? So it may also be known as imposter phenomenon. So it's a psychological pattern where individuals doubt their abilities and accomplishments and live with a persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud. So despite clear evidence of their competence, accomplishments and success. And we see this with a lot of nurses, and some are very academic and research focused and will go on, but others like me will just go and do a postgraduate degree just to prove, well, I thought at the time I was proving to others that I am smart enough, and I do have what it takes. But deep down, and after 3 years of doing this work, I actually realized deep down I was, proving to myself that I am actually smart. So, so there's no single origin throughout, although it's thought to stem from our personality traits, our family dynamics, and or childhood trauma, and our environmental factors like our workplaces. Now, this is astounding. It is astounding when you look at it for the first time, but 36 to 76% of nursing students and new graduate nurses will experience some form of imposter syndrome throughout their studies and into their early nursing career. So imagine when you come out of university, if you were university trained, hospital trained, it was different, because we were hands-on, but there still would have been traits of imposter syndrome. But 2.3% up to 46% of new graduates will experience burnout within the first 2 to 3 years as a complication of burnout, as a complication of untreated imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome and burnout in this cohort of nurses will arise. They mainly arises from a lack of self-compassion, transition from the novice nurse into the novice nurse, minimal clinical experience, and lack of ambiguity. That's a big word for me. But what was surprising throughout my research on all of this, and if you want the studies, let me know and I'll give them to you at the end. But what I was really surprised at for imposter syndrome, there was no robust studies on experienced nurses or nursing leaders. Although in all the studies, they predicted that it would be a similar percentage rate. So that was very... I struggled to find good research articles. And did you know that imposter syndrome is more common in women who are high achievers, leaders, or healthcare professionals? So, so that was a little bit that women would achieve that, would experience imposter syndrome as opposed to men. Although men seem to, something happens and it just, they just move on from it, don't they? They don't tend to, harp on about something unless it really has affected them. So how does it show up in nursing? Like I said, we get the anxiety before our shifts, exams, our new roles, perfectionism, over-delivering, procrastination and overworking. So I would be really keen to hear how many of us have done that in the past. Attributing our success to luck or timing, or we know somebody. Sensitivity to criticism, and we have a very deep fear of being exposed as a fraud. What else? Overworking, external, heightened. So that's so that's how it shows up. So let's look into more detail as to the traits in nursing. So it's just a name, okay? It's just a name that makes up a group of underlying issues that you are actually suffering from. So if we have a look at the anxiety in nursing, okay, it's our body's stress response, okay, because it feels that it's unsafe. And so naturally you think of the fight or flight, parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So when it's constant or overwhelming or triggered by everyday situation, it can actually feel like you're trapped in that never-ending cycle of worry. And it's not just in your head. Well, it's in part of your brains, but you're not making it up. Okay, so it's real, and it's both physiology, psychological and physical. So persistent anxiety will rarely just come out of nowhere. It usually begins with a painful or stressful event uh, that has left an emotional imprint on our body and our brain. And that experience creates a memory in the subconscious mind. And so when the body feels like it's in danger, okay, to protect itself. All right. So it's a threat to our body. And even when the original event is long past, your nervous system keeps scanning for threats. Okay. And it reacts as though you're back in that moment. And this is why certain events or situations that you're into will trigger that anxiety. Okay. And yeah, so it's just the body protecting us, even though there's no real danger of that. Okay, so why? Yeah, so if we don't go back and resolve that original wound, or that the pattern won't go away, and so it simply resurfaces in a different way. So it'll come through at work through perfectionism or the fear of failure, in relationships, or in our professional relationships, we start second guessing ourselves, or we won't speak up, or we have that fear of speaking up in our daily lives, so we avoid opportunities. We start playing small in work life. How many of us have sat in the car before our shift and thinking, oh my God, do I really need to go in there today? I'm not feeling it. And your heart is you got palpitations or a racing heart, and you're just thinking, oh, it's just way too much. We've seen it. We've seen it in the medication room by nurses that are crying in the medication room, or they're in the toilets, or they're going on stress leave. It is actually bigger than what we really think it is. So, and it's just like we can compare it to an old injury that's never healed. So every time pressure is applied, it'll flare up. Okay. And so until we heal the root cause of it, it's just going to continue to show up in certain situations. Okay. So the good news is that we can address it and release the root cause, whether through coaching, therapy, deeper self-awareness. You can actually free yourself from the cycle, and you're no longer reacting to past situations. You're actually reacting to the present. And this is where the confidence and the calm actually comes in and grows. Okay, so so you break free of those patterns. Okay. Fear of failure is our trait number 2. Has anybody experienced this? Can you remember a situation where, you've had this fear of failure? So let's do a bit of a fun fact and see if I can get this word right. So it's actually, the Greek name for it is achiphobia, and it means unfortunate in Greek. So people who have a fear of failure, they will tend to avoid situations that they may fail at. So fear of failure is persistent. It's overwhelming worry about making mistakes, falling short of expectations, and not meeting your goals. In the workplace, this fear paralyzes our decision making. It blocks our creativity, and it actually prevents us from growing and seizing new opportunities. And it is one of the core drivers that feeds imposter syndrome. So when you're terrified of making mistakes, your subconscious, again, or the itty bitty shitty committee, negative Nancy, if I fail, they're going to find out I'm not good enough. They're going to laugh at me, talk about me behind my back. Or if you don't perform perfectly, they'll see that you are a fraud. And so this creates a cycle where, normal workplace challenges feel like personal threats. And we've all seen it, during handover, and someone's trying to hand over, and we've got a nurse or a senior nurse, questioning a new grad, in and out, and, really every handover, and that nurse is shrieking or avoiding handover because they're scared they're going to be questioned, and the fear of, not knowing the answer to it. So where does it come from? Again, childhood criticism, punishment, not being good enough. So are you starting to see a pattern here, guys? Okay, so it could even be generation. So past trauma. So research is starting to come through now that we can hold trauma from several past generations right through down to down the line. And so it could be us that it all just comes out. So in nursing, it is actually amplified more by fear of harming a patient, public mistakes on the ward, constant pressure to perform flawlessly, and subconscious equates to mistakes with humiliation or rejection. So how does it show up in nursing? So I said before, we avoid our opportunities, so we won't apply for senior roles, we won't put ourselves forward for education. You fear that you fail, and it's going to prove that you're not competent. We stay back after shifts, so perfectionism and overworking. So have you experienced this? I know when I was probably back in 2021, when I was at, suffering burnout, I didn't realize I was in burnout at the time. And, I knew that my job was being threatened by the experiences that I was having. I did have a nurse that, would openly criticize me in front of other nurses for something that was out of my control. And so what I started doing was double checking, triple checking my work. I was bringing work home. I was working, I was 0.9, so 72 hours a fortnight, and I would have been doing up to 100 hours a fortnight because I was working late every night just to triple check and make sure that there was no mistakes and that I'm not stupid, and I am actually competent. And so that actually fueled my burnout. So when you get into these sorts of things, you stop delegating. So nursing is a 24/7 environment, and it's a team environment. And so we stop delegating to others because we're scared that people are going to think that we're inadequate. We downplay our success, so we won't celebrate our success. And Patricia, you will actually you may relate to this. When I was in the starts of my entrepreneurial journey, I questioned every single, I guess, achievement I made. A new client coming in. At the time I was in low ticket network marketing, so a new rank coming in. And when I achieved that, and so in my low ticket business, they used to send you out a pin every time that you made a rank. And I remember I got this set of, actually I got a pin the first time. I was really excited, celebrated. The next level I went up, I got a pair of gold earrings. And I remember opening up, and I was very excited to get the rank, and I opened them up and I looked at these earrings, and I thought, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. And what I actually did was sabotaged my business and myself in that business. And so instead of wearing those earrings, it took me 12 months before I put them on. I actually put them into my jewelry box and I left them there. And so when I started doing this healing on imposter syndrome, and I told that story, one of my mentors said to me, Kylie, go and get those earrings out and wear them and own it, because you've done it. You did this. And so that's where what happens when we start to downplay it. We start to self-sabotage our patterns or our success. So procrastination is another one. So we avoid taking tasks, assignments, or important conversations, okay, because starting means risking failure, and failure feels like evidence that we don't belong. And constant comparison. So we're looking at more experienced nurses. They've got it together. I don't. If they deserve that. They deserve that promotion. I don't. they're a better nurse than me. And so if you the thought is, if you try and fail, everyone will know that you don't actually deserve to be here. So again, once we start shifting our rewiring, the subconscious link to that is failure is linked with shame, rejection, and danger. And so to protect you, it pushes you into behaviors like avoiding. And instead of keeping you safe, these patterns reinforce the imposter syndrome, leaving us trapped in self-doubt and unable to celebrate. So think of it, okay? So when we do rewiring, we're going to reframe failure as feedback. Okay, so you're failing forward, and it's an opportunity for growth. So Denzel Washington is one of my most favorite actors of all time. And up here on my vision board, I'm very big on vision boards and gratitude and affirmations, and I'm actually proof that when you put this work into process and consistently, you can change your mindset and your life for the better. But one of the quotes he actually says is, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Okay, so our mistakes start becoming a part of our learning, not proof that we're not good enough, and we start taking bold action without fear holding us back, and the feedback allows us to improve and level up. So our trait number 3 is our fear of exposure. Okay, and so fear of exposure as a fraud. So it is the belief that others will eventually find out that we're not capable, knowledgeable, we're a fraud, or skilled as we appear to be. And even despite clinical evidence, so degrees, postgraduate degrees, clinical experience, promotions, positive feedback, okay, we live with that nagging thought, again, the negative Nancy, that your success is undeserved and it's only a matter of time before someone will expose you as a fraud. So, surprise, surprise, where does it come from? Our childhood conditioning. So, originates from identity wounds, not feeling worthy, smart, or capable. Okay, so growing up as a child being criticized, compared to others, or told that you're not good enough. So the identity wound to that is, I'm not smart, I'm not capable, I'm not worthy. But in our workplace and culture, it starts to magnify it, okay? So in our hierarchy systems of senior nurses and doctors, they scrutinize every move we make. Toxic environments where mistakes are publicly pointed out, but successes are never or rarely celebrated. So I'd really love to know, do you work or have you worked in an environment like this? I know I have. We used to do a huddle every morning, and the idea of a huddle was to make sure that we had all our staff on, but to give them, quick updates or important information, and the NUM had to come out on the floor. But that quickly turned into, you haven't done this, or you forgot to this, or I forgot this, there's this complaint come in. And so the staff were very rarely recognised for actually the very good work that they'd done, and that 24 hours prior, they'd seen 300 to 500 patients in 24 hours. So it was never that you'd done a really great job. And so the culture of comparison, she handled that better. He knew the answer, I didn't. All right. So, and also perfectionism as protection. So subconsciously, it becomes a shield. Everything must be flawless. There's no chance of being found out. But the more you strive for perfection, the more pressure you're putting on yourself and reinforcing the fear that you have, okay? And success feels undeserved. So it interlinks with that, deserving of success. So our achievements are then explained as lack timing. Who do you know? right place, right time. Subconscious messages. If I can repeat this, they'll realize that I don't belong here. So that's how our subconscious starts to protect us. So then how it shows up, like I said before, the over preparation, the silencing ourselves and not speaking up. We've all had the nurses that hide in the back, and the very quiet ones that just, please don't pick me, your head's down and you're like looking wherever, especially in education and training. Avoiding questions, overworking, over delivering, downplaying our achievements, and we become hypersensitive to criticism. Okay, so it's that protection mechanism and deflection. Okay, so we don't constructive feedback actually starts to feel like they're targeting me. Okay, so they see that I'm not good enough and they're just doing anything to point out. And this is where the incidents of and we can see that constructive feedback is actually being misconstrued as bullying. And that's because they haven't worked. And don't get me wrong, bullying, there is definitely bullying, and there's definitely, places where it does come in. But sometimes there is that constructive feedback that shows up as bullying. So when we start to clear it, again, the identity level beliefs, okay, we stop living in fear. We start to own our skills, okay, achievements and worth, and confidence becomes natural. And so what can be the long-term effects of that? Okay, so we stunt our confidence, we missed opportunities, we get burnout, and we have an identity crisis. So let me tell you about Maria. Let me tell you about Maria. She's been a registered nurse for over 7 years. She's competent. She's well respected amongst her colleagues, her peers. She's often praised by patients, but every handover that she had been walking into felt like walking into an exam that she hadn't studied for. So a senior nurse, every time they worked together, started to berate her in front of colleagues. So she wouldn't let her finish the handover. She questioned everything, why it wasn't done, why medications were given late, why patients hadn't gone to the discharge lounge, what was the plan for the patient tomorrow. So over time, this is when the fear of exposure, and she started protecting herself a little bit more and stopped being so outgoing, especially in handovers. So she was actually worried that if she got it wrong, what if she berated her again? She's targeting me, which this nurse actually was. But her subconscious had linked that with danger, and she lost all her confidence. And so she started to downplay her knowledge, apologize quickly when she was right. She would leave handover exhausted. At one point, when she did put this nurse and spoke out to this nurse and said, what are you doing? This nurse actually left a handover, and so she felt more embarrassed because she tried to step up for herself. So she started to overcompensate and apologize even when she was right. So that was the fear of exposure at play, plus a little bit of bullying. Despite her years of competence, she couldn't own her skills, and so that's because her body was in survival mode. Okay, so we are procrastination, my favorite subject, and something that I have definitely suffered from in nursing and in my entrepreneurial life, because I haven't owned my experience in the past. So what is it? It is the habitual delay of important tasks despite knowing that there will be no negative consequences. So in nursing, what does it look like? We avoid responsibility. We will put off decisions. We delay tasks that may feel overwhelming. And on the surface, procrastination really appears to be about time management, but at its core, it's actually about fear and avoidance because, again, we're fearing failure, judgment, or not good enough. So a lot of it is all of the same, okay? And it's that underlying traits. So how does it show up in nursing? Okay. Oh, we must be missing a slide there, but that's okay. So it shows up. We stay back late. Okay. We procrastinate on key tasks during our shifts, and then we stay back long after handover to finish charting, catch up. It reinforces the cycle of exhaustion and burnout. Hard conversations. So putting off discussions with doctors, patients, or families because we're fearful of saying the wrong thing. We will delay our opportunities. So we won't apply for a new role. We won't put ourselves forward for a secondment or a contract as a clinical nurse because the leadership pathway, because we're always thinking, I'll do it later. There's going to be another time. But deep down in our subconscious is if I try and fail, they'll know I'm not good enough, not smart enough. So we start to then get busy instead of progress, okay? And I know that in my business, there have been times when I thought, I really need to do this, but then I will find other tasks like sending out an email or getting the social media stuff and all my content ready for my VAs to do, and it's because I'm that subconscious is in the back there telling me or making me feel a little bit scared or fearful of what is going to occur. So if I don't start and I fail, we avoid danger or rejection. So our minds and our brains actually have one job to do. Okay, the subconscious mind, one job to do, keeps us safe. And so action, it associates action with failure, rejection, or exposure. And so that's the delay. And not starting something actually feels safer than starting and failing. So nurses, like I said, we delay tasks, the adrenaline. So we're acting on adrenaline. It will push us through. We overplan and we self-sabotage. So that's how it shows up. Over documenting. So it will actually feed imposter syndrome too, guys. If I can't keep up, I'm not confident. Everyone else finishes on time. Why can't I? Why am I always the last one to leave? I don't belong in that level of nursing. And so it's not a time issue. It's one of the behaviors of imposter syndrome. So long-term impact, burnout, misgrowth, eroded self-trust. So we don't, procrastination wins, self-belief shrinks, and we stop trusting ourselves. And identity reinforcement. So procrastination becomes part of our identity. I'm disorganized, I'm lazy, and I never get ahead. And so if we release that, the root cause of it, procrastination loses its grip and action becomes lighter, easier, consistent. Self-trust rebuilds and tasks get done on time, and growth, productivity, and balance will flow naturally. So a metaphor. Okay, so let's think of procrastination like smoke. So smoke isn't the real problem. It's just the sign that there's a fire burning underneath. So in nursing, the fire is made up of three things: anxiety, fear of failure, and exposure. So the smoke, which is our procrastination, clouds our vision and makes it hard to move forward. But if we were only to try to clear the smoke without dealing with the fire, what happens? Smoke will come back. And so once you put out the fire at the subconscious level, the smoke clears on its own. And this is when you start to feel light, clear, and natural. Okay, so procrastination is not the problem though. So it's rarely about time management. It's the behavioral outcome of our fears beneath it. And it's a coping mechanism that is designed to keep us stuck instead of thriving in life. And how do these traits interlink? Okay, so anxiety before a shift actually makes us freeze. Our subconscious says, wait, don't move forward until you feel safe. Our fear of failure, so fear of making mistakes, convinces you that it's safer to delay action. And so the subconscious tells us that if I don't start, I can't fail. And fear of exposure as a fraud. Okay, so fear of being found out that as a fraud makes you avoid stepping into visibility. And our subconscious will tell us if I hide or hold back, no one will expose me. And so when you put all of these into one funnel, what do you get? Procrastination. Okay, so what does it look like? Okay, like I said, it just reinforces, it avoids us applying for our dream position. It avoids us putting ourselves forwards for opportunity. We stay back late to finish simple tasks. We start bringing work home. Nobody can do the job like we can. We put off conversations, study, professional development because we are not ready. Okay. And so when you address the subconscious root of these things, anxiety, fear, and failure, fear of exposure, our procrastination dissolves naturally. Action no longer feels dangerous, and we're actually aligned, and we're aligned with what we are doing and who we are serving and what we're trying to create. And so self-trust grows and we become confident, and it starts to compound with every step forward. So stop waiting, okay, and start creating the career or the freedom that you deserve. And one thing I will ask you, and I would love for you to pop it in the comments and let me have a look and ask questions too, guys, is if I say this to you now, what is keeping you stuck in a life that is no longer serving you? So what is it? What is it that is keeping you stuck from growing and from living your ideal life when the life that you're currently living may not be serving you? So would be really keen to hear that. So our bonus, we've gotten to the end. So thank you for all of those who have stayed around and really keen. I'll come into the comments. I couldn't see them on my screen, so I'll come in shortly. So you were not meant to just survive in nursing. You are actually meant to thrive, okay? We are caregivers. We are here to empower and to uplift and naturally care for other people. But if we have these subconscious or these things that are holding us back, how can we give ourselves 100% fully to our patients? Okay, so for those of you that are all here, the guys are going to drop a link into the chat group on Zoom and into the replay, into the live on Facebook. I am offering everybody a free 45-minute coaching call with me, and we can talk about one of these things or what is keeping you stuck in your life. So everybody gets, I charge these at $297, and I've got appointments from tomorrow onwards. So the calendar link for you to book into one of these sessions is going into the comments as we speak. And this allows you in a judgment-free zone for someone that's, seen a lot of things. I was an ED nurse, so nothing surprises me. I've experienced a lot, I've seen a lot, and I've heard a lot in nursing. So it's a safe place for us to actually go a little bit deeper and have a look at actually what is keeping you stuck in your life. And so everybody gets a free booking with that. So book that, click on the link and book that. If you are watching the replay, just pop coaching call or whatever into the comments. We'll reach out via messenger and email anyway and send it to you. Okay, And just a little bit of a closing statement before we go is imposter syndrome isn't proof that you don't belong. It's proof that you actually care really deeply about the work that you do, like I mentioned before. And the truth is, you have already earned your place. Okay, you are qualified, you are capable, and you are needed. And the fears, the doubt, and the second guessing, they're just old patterns trying to keep us safe. And they're no longer needed. So it's time for us to say bye-bye. And you're not meant to play small. Okay, you're not meant to just survive, you're meant to thrive. And the moment that you start releasing those fears, you will finally see yourself the way everyone else does: strong, confident, and more than enough. And just remember that you belong here. So thank you very much for joining me on the masterclass. I'm very grateful that you showed up. Again, like I said, if you think that someone would benefit from this recording, let me know. Tag them in the comments, or get them to reach out. And you've got the link for the booking. And remember, you don't have to keep surviving. You're made to thrive. So I'll just stop sharing my screen, and I'm just going to come into the comments to see if anybody's got any questions. Where are we? So what did you think, guys? Is there any questions there? Do you have, let me know. Let me know what you thought. So what have we got? Yes, you're right. Huddle. They do, Patricia. Yeah, self-sabotage. Let's go up the top. There's quite a few here. Yes, Sheila, you're right. We do, because someone else is you can't see me. I was standing up before, I'm just sitting down. So yeah, because someone is always, thinks that they're better than us, you start to question whether you're truly good enough. And even, yes. Yeah. And that it's that taking I guess one of the things as a nurse, and one of the things I struggle to do or accept in my life, is that when someone gave me positive reinforcement or congratulated me, I didn't know how to say thank you, or I didn't know how to react, and instead I would hide and I'll go, oh really, okay, yeah. And I remember the very first time, actually it used to shock me, every time I would apply for a leadership position, and a lot of the time I divorced myself from the outcome. So I used a lot of my nursing career as a leadership for growth and mindset. And so when I would apply for these positions, I never actually got my hopes up. It was just, okay, I'm just going to apply and see what happens. And now that I'm talking about it, all of my leadership positions, I was actually quite shocked that I even got to interview. And one of the last positions I applied for, and I had a very good relationship with our director of nursing. And so one of the last positions I applied for the NUM position in our ED. And so I just applied. I just wanted the experience, not really to have the job, because it wasn't a very good job to have, very stressful, but I wanted the experience. And I remember it was a very busy afternoon shift, and she actually come down and she said, oh, Kylie, I need to speak to you. And she pulls me into one of the procedure rooms, and I was going, oh, am I in trouble? You're thinking, when the Don comes into the ED out of her office, you think you're in trouble. But she actually come down to invite me to interview. And she goes, I'm just inviting you to interview. And I'm like, huh? For the NUM position. And I'm like, are you serious? I thought she was having me on, because I didn't think my application was good enough. And so this is where that imposter syndrome, procrastination, is, because we're always second guessing ourselves as to whether or not we are good enough. And so now, after healing a lot of things, I'm actually very good at accepting praises and congratulations, and knowing that all of my experience and all of everything that I've done is because I am actually really, really smart and intelligent, and it's just other people projecting their fears onto me. So Belinda says it's very important, yes, for senior nurses to provide positive nursing supports. Yes, you are so correct. Pressure makes us perfect. Yeah. And it makes us hard to breathe. I do. Calm mind shows up fully for patients. Keep asking for advice and validation. Self-sabotage, yeah. Self-sabotage is, awful. Yes, you're right. And it's an awful place for nurse entrepreneurs. They turn into criticism, don't they? So fear of failure often makes it difficult for the nurses to move forward. Amazing. Sheila or Joy, could you add that booking link into the comments section if you've got it handy for me so that people can book a clarity call? And then do we have it going over on Facebook as well? Let me have a look. Where are we? If you guys can, just let me know once you've done that, and then I'll be able to So is there any other questions? Anybody's got any questions or want to come out and have a chat and share their story at all? Copy. Nobody's got it. Here we go. I've got it. Okay, so thanks, Joy. I put the wrong one in. All right, and if we could pop that into the Facebook group, that'd be really good. Okay, so thank you all for joining us. I'm going to leave it off on that. If you would like to replay, let me know. Other than that, thank you, and I'll let you know when the next one will be.